The steam hit me like a wall of regret, thick and unforgiving, as I slumped onto the sauna bench, towel barely clinging to my hips. Brandon's voice cut through the haze first. "Alex, you look like hell." But it was his hand on my knee that shattered everything, warm and deliberate, pulling me into a kiss that tasted like salt and secrets we'd both buried too deep. In that instant, the world outside the gym, my job, my family, the straight-laced life I'd scripted for myself, cracked open, and I wondered if we just lit the match to burn it all down. I wiped the sweat from my brow, the heat wrapping around me like an unwanted embrace, but it was nothing compared to the fire igniting in my chest. Brandon pulled back just enough to search my eyes, his breath ragged, lips parted in that half-smile he always wore after a killer deadlift session, like he'd conquered the world and was daring me to join him. "Shit, Alex," he murmured, voice low and gravelly, the kind of tone that echoed off the cedar walls and sank into your bones. "I've been dying to do that since the day we spotted each other on the bench press." My heart hammered harder than during our hit circuits, every nerve ending screaming to push him away, to laugh it off as sauna delirium. But I didn't. Instead, my hand found the nape of his neck, fingers threading through damp curls, and I pulled him closer, tasting the recklessness on his tongue. It was messy, urgent, the kind of kiss that doesn't ask permission because it knows it's been invited 1,000 times in stolen glances across the weight room. When we finally broke apart, gasping, the air between us hummed with possibility and terror. We'd met 6 months ago at Elite Iron, that overpriced gym in Midtown Manhattan where Wall Street bros and aspiring influencers pretended to lift more than their egos. I was there to drown out the noise in my head, the endless mergers at my finance firm, the passive-aggressive voicemails from my mom about settling down with a nice girl, the hollow ache of turning 30 and still feeling like a ghost in my own life. Brandon was the opposite, vibrant, unapologetic, a freelance graphic designer with tattoos snaking up his arms like vines claiming a forgotten wall. He had this laugh that boomed over the clank of dumbbells, drawing eyes without trying, and eyes the color of storm clouds that seemed to see right through your bullshit. Our friendship started simple, spotting each other on squats, trading protein shake recipes, grabbing post-workout beers at the dive bar next door. "You're too tense, man," he'd say, clapping my shoulder a beat too long, his touch lingering like an afterimage. I'd brush it off, blame the endorphins, but deep down I knew. The way my pulse quickened when he stripped off his shirt after a run, revealing the lean ridges of his abs etched by years of discipline. The electric buzz when our thighs brushed under the cafeteria table, knees knocking in silent Morse code. It was there, humming beneath the surface, but neither of us named it. Not until tonight. The sauna door creaked open, letting in a blast of cooler air, and we jerked apart like guilty teenagers. It was empty otherwise. Thank God for late-night sessions after the finance crowd cleared out. Brandon chuckled, low and nervous, rubbing the back of his neck. "Well, that happened." His eyes flicked to mine, vulnerable in a way I'd never seen, stripping away the cocky exterior. "You gonna freak out on me, Alex? Tell me this was a mistake." I swallowed hard, the heat making my throat tight. Freak out? Hell yes, I wanted to. My whole life was built on straight lines. The Ivy League degree, the corner office trajectory, the family photo album filled with heteronormative milestones. Dad's golf buddies, Mom's bridge club, they'd never understand. And Justin, my oldest friend from college, the one who'd crashed on my couch last week and grilled me about why I'm still single, he'd lose his shit. Justin, with his bro-code loyalty and unexamined prejudices. The guy who'd once joked that real men don't prance around with rainbows. But looking at Brandon now, towel slipping just enough to tease the V of his hips, I felt something shift. A quiet rebellion, warm as the steam enveloping us. "No," I said finally, voice steadier than I felt. "No mistake." I reached out, tracing the line of his jaw with my thumb, feeling the stubble rasp against my skin. His eyes darkened, and he leaned into it, a soft exhale escaping him. We didn't speak after that. Words felt too fragile. Instead, we let our bodies talk. Hands exploring tentatively at first, Then, with growing hunger, mapping the terrain we'd both eyed from afar. His fingers ghosted over my chest, thumbs circling nipples that pebbled under the touch, sending jolts straight south. I mirrored him, palms sliding down his sides, gripping the firm swell of his ass, pulling him flush against me. The friction was electric, cocks hardening through the thin barrier of terry cloth, and when he ground against me with a needy groan, I nearly came undone right there. We lost track of time, the sauna's timer beeping ignored in the haze. It was pure sensation. The slick slide of skin on skin, the mingled sense of cedar and musk, the way his mouth claimed my neck, teeth grazing just hard enough to mark without bruising. God, Alex, he whispered against my collarbone. You have no idea how long I've imagined this. His confession hung between us, heavy with unspoken histories. Nights alone with thoughts of me, perhaps, just as I'd woken hard and aching from dreams of him. Eventually, reality intruded. The door handle rattled, someone outside, and we scrambled, towels hastily retied, hearts pounding from more than the heat. We stumbled out into the locker room, laughing breathlessly, the kind of laugh that masks panic. Under the fluorescent lights, Brandon looked almost shy, towel knotted low, water dripping from his hair. Your place or mine? He asked, casual as ordering takeout, but his eyes pleaded. Mine, I said without thinking. My walk-up in Chelsea was closer, a shoebox apartment with exposed brick, and a view of the Hudson that I'd always thought too empty. Now it felt like a canvas waiting for color. The cab ride was torture. His thigh pressed against mine in the back seat, pinky hooking mine in secret solidarity. We didn't talk much. The city blurred past, neon signs flickering like warnings. When we tumbled through my door, shedding clothes like inhibitions, it was frantic. He pushed me against the wall, mouth crashing into mine, hands everywhere. Tugging at my shirt, fumbling with my belt. I yanked his tank top over his head, exposing the tattoo I'd memorized. A compass rose on his ribcage, pointing nowhere and everywhere. For lost souls, he'd said once over beers. Now I traced it with my tongue, tasting salt and freedom. We made it to the bed eventually, a tangle of limbs and gasps. Brandon was all instinct. Confident strokes, lips that knew exactly where to linger, drawing moans from me I didn't recognize as my own. He prepped me with patient fingers, lube cool against the heat building between us, whispering praises that made my cheeks burn. So fucking beautiful like this, Alex. Let go for me. When he finally pushed inside, slow and deep, it was like coming home to a place I'd never known existed. The rhythm built, hips snapping, bed frame protesting, until we shattered together. Him buried in my neck, me clawing at his back, the world narrowing to that exquisite release. Afterward, we lay spent, sheets twisted around us, his head on my chest. The city hummed outside, distant sirens a reminder of the life waiting. This changes everything, I murmured, fingers carding through his hair. He lifted his head, eyes soft. Yeah, but maybe that's the point. He kissed my jaw, lazy and content. For the first time in years, sleep came easy, wrapped in his warmth. But dawn brought the doubts. I woke to Brandon brewing coffee in my kitchenette, wearing nothing but boxers and that easy grin. Morning, handsome. He slid a mug my way, black, 2 sugars, just how I liked it. How did he know? Small things accumulated over months of casual observation. It unnerved me, this intimacy creeping in so fast. We spent the day like thieves stealing time. Lazy brunch at a hole-in-the-wall diner, where his foot nudged mine under the table. A walk through Washington Square Park, hands brushing but not holding, eyes darting for familiar faces. New York was merciless. No anonymity in a city that thrived on gossip. By evening, as we cooked pasta in my cramped kitchen, him chopping garlic with theatrical flair, me sneaking kisses between stirs, the bubble felt fragile. Too good, too soon. That's when my phone buzzed. Justin. Yo, where you at? Beers tonight? Got news. My stomach twisted. Justin had been my anchor since freshman year at NYU. the straight-arrow lawyer who'd bailed me out of bad dates and worse hangovers. But lately, his texts carried an edge, probing questions about my gym obsession. I typed back, "Rain check. Busy." Brandon peered over my shoulder, sauce spoon in hand. "Everything cool?" "Yeah." I lied, forcing a smile. "Just the usual." But as I hit send, a shadow crossed my mind. What if Justin knew? What if he'd seen us leave the gym together, towels slung low, that post-sauna glow too obvious? We ignored it, losing ourselves in the night again. Slower this time, exploratory, learning the map of each other's bodies under the flicker of string lights. He traced my scars, faint ones from a childhood bike crash, murmuring stories of his own. The coming-out fight with his conservative Texas family, the ex who'd ghosted him after a year. "Love's a gamble, Alex, but you're worth the pot." His words lodged in my throat, a promise I wasn't ready to claim. As he drifted off, I stared at the ceiling, the weight of unspoken fears pressing down. This thing between us, it was real, raw, the kind of love that could rewrite my story. But stories have villains, and mine was already circling. The next week blurred into a fever dream of stolen moments. Morning started with Brandon's texts, memes about sore muscles, inside jokes from our sessions, pulling me from sleep with a grin I couldn't suppress. We'd meet at the gym, eyes locking across the free weights like magnets, the air charged with what we couldn't say aloud. After, we'd detour to his loft in Williamsburg, a sun-drenched space cluttered with sketchpads and half-finished murals, where the Brooklyn Bridge framed our afternoons like a postcard promise. There, away from Midtown's grind, we built something fragile and fierce. He'd sketch me while I read case files on his couch, pencil scratching softly, capturing the curve of my shoulder or the furrow in my brow with uncanny accuracy. "You're my muse now," he'd tease, but his eyes held reverence, like I was a masterpiece mid-creation. In return, I'd cook, simple things, grilled chicken and quinoa, fueling our bodies for the nights when hunger turned primal. Sex with him was revelation. Playful 1 hour, worshipful the next, his body attuned to mine like we'd been lovers in past lives. He'd pin my wrists above my head, thrusting deep with a growl that vibrated through me. Or he'd kneel between my legs, mouth hot and insistent, drawing out pleas I never knew I had. But cracks formed early. My job demanded 80-hour weeks, mergers that bled into midnight emails, leaving me exhausted and distant. "You're pulling away," Brandon said one night, as we lay tangled in his sheets, city lights painting stripes across his skin. His voice was quiet, laced with hurt that mirrored my own fears. "I'm not," I protested, but it sounded hollow even to me. Truth was, the world outside our bubble was closing in. Mom called twice, her voice syrupy with concern. "Alex, honey, when are you bringing someone home for Thanksgiving? Your cousin's engaged again." I mumbled excuses, the phone slick in my palm, Brandon's hand stilling on my thigh as he listened. Then there was Justin. He cornered me at our usual spot, the Rusty Nail, a dimly lit bar where we'd nursed ambitions over IPAs for a decade. He slid into the booth opposite me, craft beer foaming over the rim. His tie loosened like a noose half escaped. "Dude, you've been MIA. What's the deal?" "New girl." His grin was wolfish, probing. I forced a laugh, sipping my drink to buy time. "Nah, just work. You know how it is." But his eyes narrowed, that lawyer's instinct kicking in, dissecting my evasion. "Come on, spill. You're glowing or some shit like post-sex glow." "Who is she?" He leaned in, conspiratorial, but there was an undercurrent, a judgment I'd ignored for years. Justin had always been the straight man in every sense. Frat boy turned corporate climber, with a string of girlfriends who blurred into one another, each more trophy-like than the last. Gay jokes were his currency, casual barbs that landed like punches if you were paying attention. I deflected, steering talk to his big news, a promotion at his firm, partner track materializing. We clinked glasses, the ritual familiar, but as he rambled about billable hours, my mind wandered to Brandon. The way he'd hummed off-key in the shower that morning, suds sliding down his back. Guilt twisted in my gut. Justin had been there through my breakups, my quarter-life crisis. Hiding this from him felt like betrayal. That night, alone in my apartment, I cracked, paced the hardwood floors, phone in hand, thumb hovering over Brandon's contact. What were we doing? This wasn't just a fling. It was rewriting my DNA, thread by thread. I texted him, "Miss you already. Dinner tomorrow?" His reply pinged instant. "Hell yes. Wear that shirt I like, the blue one. Makes your eyes pop." The next evening, we met at a tucked-away Italian spot in the village, candlelight flickering over Chianti bottles and checkered tablecloths. It felt dangerously like a date. His knee against mine under the table, fingers intertwining across the breadbasket when the waiter looked away. We talked dreams. His to launch a queer art collective, mine to escape finance for something meaningful, maybe nonprofit work helping LGBTQ youth. "You'd be amazing at it," he said, eyes shining. "Advocate for the kids like us, lost in the straight world." His words hit home, stirring memories I'd buried. High school lockers slammed in my face after a rumor about a crush on the swim team captain. College hookups fumbled in dorm rooms, always one-night stands to avoid the label. With Brandon, it was different. Seen wanted not despite but because. We left arm in arm, the autumn chill nipping at our heels, and ducked into an alley for a kiss that steamed the bricks. His hands roamed under my jacket, possessive, and I melted into it, the city fading to a hum. But fate's a cruel editor. As we emerged, laughing, Justin's voice sliced through. "Alex!" He stood frozen across the street, takeout bag dangling from his fist, eyes wide with something between shock and disgust. Time stalled. Brandon's hand slipped from mine. Instinctive camouflage, but it was too late. Justin's gaze darted between us, piecing it together. The glow, the secrecy, the unspoken. "Justin." "Hey." I started, stepping forward, but he backed up, face paling. "What the fuck, man?" His whisper was venomous, laced with betrayal. "You? With him?" The word hung ugly, reducing Brandon to an it. Brandon stiffened beside me, chin lifting defiantly. "Easy, buddy. It's not what you—" "Shut up," Justin snapped, eyes locked on me. "Alex, we need to talk. Alone." The command brooked no argument, his lawyer mode activating, cold, dissecting. I nodded numbly, turning to Brandon. "Go ahead. I'll call you." My voice cracked, apology woven in, but he just squeezed my arm. A silent "I'm here." Justin dragged me to a nearby bench, the park empty save for rustling leaves. "Explain," he demanded, voice low to avoid eavesdroppers. "This some phase? Experiment? Because if you're, you know." He couldn't say it, the word gay choking him like bad whiskey. "It's not a phase," I said, the admission freeing and terrifying. "Brandon, he's important." The words tumbled out, raw. The sauna, the nights, the way he made me feel alive. Justin listened, face a mask cracking at the edges. Shock giving way to something darker, pity laced with revulsion. "Jesus, Alex, your parents, the firm, this'll ruin you." He ran a hand through his hair, pacing. "Look, I get it, curiosity, whatever, but keep it quiet. For your sake." His tone was paternal, condescending, as if I were a kid caught shoplifting. Anger flared. "It's not curiosity. It's me." We argued then, voices rising, his defenses crumbling into half-hearted acceptance. "Fine, do you, but don't expect me to cheerlead this shit." He stormed off, leaving me adrift on the bench. The night's magic soured. I called Brandon from a stoop, voice thick. "I'm sorry." He saw us. The confession spilled, his silence heavy on the line. When he spoke, it was steady. "Hey, we'll handle it. Come over." I did, collapsing into his arms, the loft a sanctuary. We didn't make love that night, just held each other, his heartbeat sinking mine, a quiet vow against the storm. But storms brew fast in New York. Days later, Justin texted, "We good? Lunch?" I agreed, desperate to salvage the friendship, meeting at a deli near his office. He was all smiles, slapping my back too hard. "Water under the bridge, man. Brothers before." Whatever. But his eyes lingered, assessing, and when he jokingly asked about Brandon. He treating you right, or do I need to kick his ass? The edge was there, a warning. I brushed it off, but unease festered. Work suffered. I botched a client call, staring at spreadsheets while replaying Justin's face. Brandon noticed, pulling me aside after a gym session. Talk to me. In the locker room steam. Not the sauna, not yet, we hashed it out, his hands gentle on my shoulders. He's my history, I admitted. Losing him feels like losing part of myself. Brandon's jaw tightened, but his voice was kind. You're not losing you, just editing the cast. He kissed my forehead, a gesture so tender it nearly undid me. That weekend we escaped to the Hamptons, his idea. A spontaneous road trip in his beat-up Jeep, windows down, indie rock blasting. The drive was catharsis. Salt air whipping our hair, hands linked over the gearshift. We rented a cottage by the beach, waves crashing like applause. Days blurred into sun-soaked bliss. Morning runs on the shore, his laughter echoing as we body surfed. Evenings grilling lobster, bodies oiled and lazy under the stars. One night, fire pit crackling, he opened up fully. The rejection from his dad after coming out at 18. The grind of building a life in a city that chews up dreamers. I swore I'd never hide again, he said, poking the embers. But with you, I'd bend, if it meant keeping this. Don't? I whispered, pulling him close. We'll face it together. We made love on the sand, urgent and elemental, the ocean swallowing our cries. It was peak romance, the kind movies sell tickets for. Firelight on his skin, promises etched in sweat. Back in the city, reality bit harder. Mom's annual gala invite arrived. Black tie affair with the whole family. Bring a date, sweetie. Her note read. Panic clawed me. Brandon, sensing it, suggested we go public, slowly, starting with friends. Let Justin stew. He's not the gatekeeper. But Justin had other plans. The betrayal came via voicemail, left while I was in a meeting. Alex, your mom's asking questions. I had to tell her something. Not everything, just that you're seeing someone. She thinks it's a girl. Fix this before it blows up. My blood ran cold. He'd meddled. Twisted my truth into a lie to protect me. Rage boiled, but beneath it, grief. For the brother I'd thought he was. I confronted him that night, storming his high-rise apartment overlooking Central Park. What the hell, Justin? You went to my mom. He opened the door in sweats, eyes bloodshot. Booze or guilt? It slipped. She called fishing and I panicked. For you, man. This gay shit. It's a minefield. It's not shit, I roared, shoving past him into the living room, skyline mocking me through floor-to-ceiling glass. It's my life, and you just dropped a grenade in it. We yelled until hoarse, his defenses cracking. I'm scared for you, okay? The world's not kind to guys like us. The us hung, a reluctant olive branch. But trust was shattered, shards embedding deep. I left shaking, driving to Brandon's in the rain-slicked streets. He held me as I vented, his calm a balm. We'll rebuild, he murmured, lips on my temple. But as thunder rumbled, I wondered if the storm had just begun. November crept in with a vengeance, leaves carpeting the sidewalks in crimson decay, mirroring the rot in my friendships. Justin's confession to Mom snowballed quietly at first. Her calls shifted from nagging to probing, laced with that Midwestern politeness masking worry. Tell me about this mystery woman, Alex. Is she from a good family? I dodged, stomach churning, while Brandon became my lifeline. His texts a daily anchor. Thinking of you. That spot on your neck? Mine tonight. We carved out rituals to combat the chaos. Tuesday yoga at a queer-friendly studio in the East Village, where his downward dog drew my gaze like gravity. Friday nights at underground poetry slams, his hand in mine under the table, fingers tracing tattoos I'd memorized. Sex evolved too. Less frantic, more intimate, mornings where he'd wake me with lazy blowjobs. Eyes locked as he took me deep, humming vibrations that arched my back. Love how you taste, he'd say afterward, smug and sated. pulling me atop him for round 2. But the facade cracked wider. At work, whispers started. A colleague spotting us at brunch, eyebrows raised over mimosas. "Heard you're off the market, Thompson. Who's the lucky lady?" I mumbled deflections, but paranoia bloomed. And Justin. He oscillated between radio silence and forced brohangs. His jokes sharper, eyes avoiding mine during basketball pickups. One night, beers flowing, he cornered me in the bar's alley. "This thing with the gym rat, it's fun, right? Not serious." The dismissal stung. "His name's Brandon. And yeah, it's serious." My voice was steel, but inside doubt flickered. Was it? In the quiet hours, I questioned. Was I ready for the fallout, the labels, the loss? Brandon sensed the drift, confronting me over takeout in his loft. Rain lashed the windows, thunder punctuating his words. "You're shutting down, Alex. Talk." Curled on his couch, Thai curry cooling untouched. I spilled, the isolation, the fear of becoming that guy. The one who upends everything for love. He listened, then cupped my face, thumbs brushing tears I hadn't noticed. "I see you fighting yourself, not me. But we can't half-ass this." His kiss was fierce, claiming, backing me against the cushions until clothes littered the floor. He took his time that night, fingers and tongue mapping every inch, building me slow until I begged, then flipping me over, entering with a thrust that blurred pain and pleasure. "You're mine," he growled, each snap of hips a declaration. I came undone, sobbing his name, the release cathartic, washing away the grime. After, wrapped in his arms, he whispered plans. A weekend in Provincetown, P-Town's gay mecca, to recharge our souls. I agreed, desperate for escape. But fate intervened cruelly. The morning we packed, my phone rang. "Dad," voice grave. "Son, your mother's worried. Justin mentioned. Issues. Come home for dinner. Clear the air." Home meant Scarsdale, the manicured suburb where I'd learned to hide varsity football. Prom with a girl whose name I forgot. The family Christmas cards pristine as fresh snow. Dread pooled. But I went, leaving Brandon with a kiss and a promise. One dinner, then we're gone. The house loomed, colonial perfect. Mom's poinsettias early blooming on the mantel. Dinner was roast chicken and tension. Dad at the head slicing meat with surgical precision. Mom's eyes darting like minnows. Justin was there, invited, the traitor, his smile tight as he passed the wine. "Good to see you, Alex." Small talk flowed like syrup. Work triumphs, holiday plans. Then Mom leaned in, voice soft. "Justin said you're struggling with relationships." Her hand on mine, maternal but probing. "We just want you happy, honey." My fork clattered. Justin's eyes pleaded, "Sorry, bro." But fury ignited. "Struggling," I echoed, voice rising. "Because I'm not married at 30? Or because I'm gay?" The word detonated. Silence swallowed the room, silverware frozen midair. Mom's face drained of color. Dad's jaw clenched like a vice. "What did you say?" Dad's tone was thunder low, the lawyer in him surfacing, cross-examining. "I'm gay, Dad. Have been my whole life." And Justin knew. Hell, he told you half-truths to protect me. I turned on him, venom spilling. "But you couldn't handle the full truth, could you? Better to lie than admit your best friend's queer." Justin flushed, stammering. "I was trying to help. You think this family's ready? Your career." "Stop." Mom interjected, voice breaking. "Alex, is this real?" Her eyes searched mine, pleading for the son she'd scripted. Tears burned. "Real as it gets, Mom. His name's Brandon. I love him." The admission freed something primal, but the cost crashed down. Dad's chair scraping back, face a mask of betrayal. "This is a phase, like that art school nonsense in high school." He stormed to his study, door slamming like finality. Mom reached out, tentative. We love you. But this, it's a lot." Justin slunk away, mumbling apologies. His loyalty, a house of cards, collapsed. I fled to the guest room, phone clutched like a talisman. Brandon's voice soothed over the line. "Breathe, baby." I'm coming. He did. Jeep tires screeching into the driveway an hour later, rain-soaked and defiant. We sat on the porch swing, his arm around me, as Mom watched from the window, silhouette uncertain. You're shaking, he murmured, hand rubbing my back. But you did it. Proud of you. Inside, the air was thick. Dad refused to emerge. Mom offered tea, awkward bridge building. Tell me about him, she said to me, glancing at Brandon. We did, haltingly, over chamomile steam. Gym stories, road trips, the way he made me laugh till my sides ached. Her smile was fragile, but genuine. He seems kind. Justin hovered in the hall, face ashen. Alex, I fucked up. Bad. His apology was raw, eyes wet. I was scared, for me too. Admitting it makes me question shit. The vulnerability cracked his armor, revealing the boy who'd confided college crushes, now grappling with his own shadows. Forgive me? He asked, voice small. Not yet, I said, but softer. But maybe. We left at dawn, Brandon's hand in mine as we drove west, the rising sun gilding the highway. P-Town awaited, but the real journey was internal, mending fractures, claiming space. In the passenger seat, head on his shoulder, I felt the first stirrings of peace. Betrayal had scarred, but love was the salve, humanistic in its messy grace. Yet climax loomed, unbidden. 2 days into our Cape Cod idyll, clamming in the bay, his laughter mingling with gulls, we got the call. My firm's HR, Thompson, we need to discuss an allegation. Anonymous email, they said, outing me to the partners. Justin's doing? Or a colleague's malice? Panic surged, but Brandon's grip steadied. We'll fight. Back in the city, the office was a gauntlet. Stairs in the elevator, whispers behind glass walls. The allegation, baseless, but the damage was done. Clients pulling back, partners cool. Discretion matters in finance, my boss said. Eyes sympathetic but firm. Take some time. Unemployed, unmoored, I spiraled. Brandon pulled me through, his loft our bunker. Job hunt pep talks over dawn coffees. Nights where he'd hold me as sobs racked, whispering, you're more than this. Sex became solace. Tender, reaffirming, his body a reminder of worth. He'd straddle me slow, rocking with hypnotic grace. Eyes locked. Feel that? That's us. Unbreakable. But doubt crept. One night, post-layoff drinks with old colleagues. A barb landed. Heard you went rainbow. Bold move, Alex. Laughter, cruel camouflage. I texted Brandon. Need space. Overwhelmed. His reply, take it. But I'm here. Space turned to silence. Days bleeding into a week. Justin reached out, guilt-fueled. I didn't send that email, swear. But I talked, bragged about fixing you. Word got around. Confession too, deeper wound. I blocked him, rage a temporary shield. The breaking point came in the sauna. Full circle, steam thick as memory. I went alone, seeking the spot where it started, towel tight around my waist. The door opened. Brandon entered, eyes shadowed. Missed you, he said simply, sitting close. No pressure, just presence. Tears mixed with sweat. I ruined everything. Job, family. You survived, he countered. Hand on my knee, echo of that first touch. And we're still here. His kiss was gentle, then deepening, bodies aligning in the heat. We didn't rush. Hands stroking, cocks hardening in tandem. A slow grind building to mutual release, gasps swallowed in the haze. It was healing, raw, the climax not just physical but emotional. Forgiveness for myself, in his arms. Winter gripped New York like a grudge, snow blanketing the streets in indifferent white, mirroring the numbness settling in my bones. The layoff payout bought time, but not peace. Resumes vanished into HR black holes. Interviews laced with veiled questions about personal stability. Brandon became my North Star, his freelance gigs fluctuating but his support unwavering. Mock interviews in his kitchen where he'd play tough exec, then reward good answers with blowjobs under the table, his mouth a velvet promise. You're a catch, he'd say, wiping his lips with a wink. Any firmed be lucky. Family mended in fits. Mom visited first, tentative lunch at a neutral cafe. Her fur-trimmed coat a armor against the cold, and me. Your father. He's trying, she said, stirring her latte. Therapy. For all of us. Her hand over mine, tentative bridge. We talked Brandon, his art, his kindness. Invite him over, she urged, eyes softening. Dad's thaw came slower. A grunted proud of your grit over Thanksgiving Zoom. Brandon at my side, charming with stories of Texas barbecues. Justin was the wild card. Post-block, he persisted. Flowers at my door, voicemails raw with regret. I was a coward, questioning my own shit by curiosities I buried. Seeing you brave, it cracked me open. The admission stunned, a mirror to my own buried fears. We met at the Rusty Nail, neutral ground, his face haggard, nursing soda not beer. I'm sorry, he started, words tumbling. The email trace leading not to him, but a jealous associate he'd confided in. I outed you indirectly. Unforgivable. Tears tracked his cheeks, uncharacteristic vulnerability. But you're my brother. Always, if you'll have me. Forgiveness isn't linear. It's a choice, humanistic in its imperfection. We'll see, I said, but shook his hand, firm a start. He met Brandon next. Awkward beers turning to genuine laughs. Justin's walls crumbling. You make him light up, man. Deserves that. With anchors realigning, I dove into reinvention. Volunteered at the Ali Forney Center, shelter for LGBTQ youth. Stories echoing mine. Rejection, resilience. A kid named Riley, 16 and fierce, reminded me of young Brandon. Love ain't a luxury, it's survival. His words fueled my pivot, nonprofit consulting, leveraging finance smarts for good. Interviews flowed, purpose igniting. Brandon and I deepened, roots intertwining. Valentine's hit mid-blizzard, but he transformed the loft. Fairy lights strung like stars, dinner by candlelight. Steak seared perfect, wine rich as his gaze. To us, he toasted, then dropped to one knee. Not ring, but a sketch. Our silhouettes intertwined, compass rose binding us. Marry me? Someday. When you're ready. Tears blurred the lines. Yes? I whispered, pulling him up into a kiss that led to the bedroom. Passionate, unhurried. His body arching under mine as I claimed control, thrusting with a rhythm that spoke vows. Afterward, tangled and glowing, we dreamed aloud. A wedding in P-Town, Justin as best man, family evolving. But drama peaks before resolution. Spring teased with crocuses, but betrayal's echo resurfaced. An ex of Brandon's, Derek, a bitter sculptor from his Austin days, surfaced via Instagram DMs to me. He's toxic, cheated on me. Watch your back. Poison seeped, doubt poisoning our harmony. Brandon denied it, hurt flashing. Ancient history. Why believe him? I didn't at first, but Derek escalated. Blurry photos from years back, timestamps damning, whispers to mutual friends. Paranoia gnawed. Arguments flared, small at first. Late nights sketching, my accusations veiled. Just talk to him, Justin advised over coffee, his redemption arc earnest. Communications the bro code now. The confrontation brewed in the sauna, inevitable circle. Post-gym, steam our confessional. I laid it bare. Derek saying you cheated. My voice cracked, towel slipping in agitation. Brandon's face crumpled, then hardened. And you doubt me? Hurt laced his words, eyes stormy. I told you one slip years ago before we knew each other. Honesty from day one. But why now? I pressed, heat amplifying the rawness. Is he right? Am I just? He surged forward, hands framing my face, kiss desperate, bruising. You're everything. Believe or leave. The plea hung, vulnerability bared. I believed, chose trust over ghost. We emerged renewed, bodies slick, heading to his loft for makeup sex that bordered cathartic. Him on his knees, taking me deep with fervent apology, then me returning the favor, worshipping until cries echoed. Derek faded, blocked and forgotten, a test passed. Climax crested that summer at Pride. New York pulsed with rainbows. Parades thumping bass. Floats glittering. Bodies a sea of celebration. We marched hand in hand. First public outing. My parents on the sidelines, waving tentative flags. Justin beside us, by pin gleaming. His own coming out whispered weeks prior. "Thanks for the push," he said, clapping my shoulder. The float ahead blared anthems, confetti raining. But my world narrowed to Brandon. Sweat-damp shirt clinging, grin radiant. In the throng, he pulled me close, kiss amid cheers, the city our witness. It was peak drama. Past betrayals dissolving in the roar, emotions cresting like waves. Yet romance wove humanistic threads. Post-parade, we volunteered at the center, serving water to exhausted marchers. Riley beaming, "You too? Goals." A quiet moment. Brandon sketching a family portrait impromptu, including Mom, Dad, even Justin. "Our tribe," he said, pencil flying. Conflicts resolved not neatly, but authentically. Dad's therapy yielded a letter. "Son, I was wrong. Love you, as you are." Mom hosted a barbecue, awkward but warm, Brandon's ribs earning nods. Justin dated a guy from his firm. Our trio reborn, banter laced with new depth. My career bloomed. Director at a queer advocacy nonprofit, salary modest but soul-filling. Brandon's collective launched, gallery night buzzing, my toast slaying. To the artist who saw me first, intimacy evolved. Lazy Sundays in bed, his head in my lap as I read aloud. Midnight runs, breaths sinking. Sex remained fire. Adventurous, a harness one weekend. His moans as I teased him bound. Tender, slow grinds whispering endearments. But humanity's in the flaws. We argued, his clutter driving me mad, my control freak tendencies grating. Once, post-fight, I stormed out, wandering Chelsea's galleries till dawn. He found me at a bench, coffee in hand. "Missed your stubborn ass." Laughter bridged, forgiveness a habit. As autumn returned, 1 year post-Sauna, we stood on my fire escape. Now our apartment, lease dual signed, watching leaves spiral. "Question everything?" he teased, echoing that hook. "Only to find this," I replied, kissing him slow. The moment was ours. Dramatic in quiet, emotional in depth, romantic in persistence, humanistic in growth. The second anniversary dawned crisp, Central Park aflame with golds and reds. A canvas mirroring our journey's palette, vibrant, scarred, enduring. Brandon woke me with breakfast in bed. Pancakes stacked artfully, smiley faces in syrup, his eyes twinkling mischief. 2 years of putting up with you," he quipped, sliding under the covers for a lazy morning fuck. Me riding him slow, hands braced on his chest, our rhythms a well-worn dance. Release came soft, sighs mingling, the afterglow stretching as we dozed, limbs entwined. Life had settled into a rhythm both ordinary and extraordinary. My nonprofit role expanded, leading campaigns against conversion therapy, testimonies from youth like Riley fueling policy wins. Board meetings in sleek conference rooms, but evenings grounded me. Home to Brandon's chaos, easels crowding the living room, paint-splattered drop cloths our rug. He dragged me into critiques, my finance brain, offering blunt feedback. Too corporate, loosen the lines. Laughter followed, dissolving into makeouts against the fridge. Family wove tighter. Mom's brunches became monthly, her knitting circle yielding rainbow scarves. For my boys, Dad golfed with Brandon, gruff tips on swings masking approval. Kids got follow-through. Holidays healed. Christmas with his Texas kin, tentative at first, cousins eyeing us warily, but warming to toasts and tales, his sisters hug fierce. Families who shows up. Justin thrived in reinvention, out and proud, dating a barista named Theo, their double dates a riot of inside jokes. Who knew repression made me an asshole? He'd self-deprecate, clinking beers. One night, tipsy confessions over whiskey. "You saved me, Alex, by saving yourself." Bro code evolved, deeper bonds forged in fire's aftermath. Yet romance demanded tending. We honeymooned early, in Greece, his grant-funded artist retreat doubling as our escape. Whitewashed Santorini cliffs, Aegean blues mirroring his eyes. Nights on black sand beaches, bodies slick with olive oil, making love under stars, waves lapping our toes. Eternal, he whispered, tracing my hip bone. Back home, we fought weeds. His wanderlust clashing my rootedness. A gallery offer in Ellis sparking panic. 6 months, he proposed, voice hopeful. Trial run. Doubt flared. What if we unravel? But trust prevailed. We compromised. Quarterly visits, virtual dates via candlelit screens. Distance tested, but calls ended in sexts, reunions explosive. Airport pickups dissolving into hotel romps. His mouth on me in the cab, driver averted eyes. Climax revisited subtly. Derek's shadow resurfaced via a scathing review of Brandon's show. Anonymous venom dredging old lies. Media sniffed. Tabloid whisper of queer drama, tying to my advocacy. Paparazzi lurked outside the gallery opening. Flashes blinding as we posed. Hands clasped defiant. Inside, his pieces shone. Portraits of us, raw and reverent. The crowd hushed. My speech cracked. Art like this? It heals. Reminds us love's the ultimate rebellion. Betrayal's ghost prompted therapy. Couple sessions unpacking scars. Justin joining once for bro therapy. His by awakening a shared laugh. We're all works in progress, the counselor said. Words humanistic gospel. Emotions deepened in quiet beats. A miscarriage scare. No, wait. Adoption talks. Fostering Riley's friend. A shy 12-year-old named Kai. His wide eyes echoing our youths. Home visits, paperwork mountains. But holding Kai's hand at the zoo. Brandon's grin paternal. My heart swelled. Family 2.0, he joked, but eyes shone serious. Sex mirrored growth. Experimental edges. Roleplay where I bossed him as the exec. His submission a thrill. Vanilla nights post-bad days. Spooning into gentle thrusts. Aftercare cuddles with whispered affirmations. You're my safe harbor, I'd murmur, his back to my chest. Humanism shown in outreach. Panel at the center. Justin moderating. Dad in the audience clapping loudest. A heckler shouted slurs. We drowned him in unity. Stories of betrayal to belonging, tears and applause mingling. Ending neared not tragic, but earned. On our balcony, city sprawl below, Brandon knelt again. This time with a ring, simple platinum band etched with compass points. Marry me. For real. All in. Tears blurred the skyline. Yes. God, yes. The kiss sealed it, joyous, the world tilting right. Wedding bloomed in P-Town summers later. Beach ceremony. Waves our choir. Justin best man with a speech slaying. From sauna steam to this dream. Love wins, bitches. Mom teary. Dad's arm around her. Kai flower boy. Scattering petals with glee. Vows exchanged at sunset. Rings exchanged in salt-kissed hands. Through betrayals and breakthroughs, I choose you. Honeymoon in Tuscany. Villas vine-draped, pasta feasts, lazy fucks in sun-warmed sheets. Back, life unfolded. Kai's adoption finalized, his laughter filling our halls. Brandon's biennial buzzed, my TED Talk viral. Years stacked, silver threading temples, but passion endured. Anniversaries in the sauna, recreating that hook, steam witness to enduring fire. Justin's wedding next, Theo's grin mirroring ours. Family barbecues sprawling, tables groaning under potlucks. In quiet, we'd reflect, questioned everything. Brandon say, head on my lap. Worth it? I'd reply, fingers in his hair. For in America's vast tapestry, flawed, fierce, we'd woven our thread. Dramatic arcs bent to romantic grace. Emotional depths plumbed for humanistic light. Love not perfect but profoundly ours. Epilogue whispered in twilight walks. Kai's first crush, awkward and sweet. Our guidance gentle. Be brave, Brandon advised, echoing our start. And in his eyes, stormy still, I saw eternity. 2 men once adrift, now anchored. The moment that surprised us birthing a lifetime.